You looking for a vegan muscle building meal plan? You've come to the right place. What is up, guys? It's Marcus here from Discover Ignite, and for those of you guys out there who haven't watched part 1 of this series on building muscle on a vegan diet, I highly suggest you stop this video and start with part 1. Now, for those other people who are waiting for part 2 and wondering what part 2 is about, it's about setting up your meal plan. Now, I want to go over some of the different ways you can set up your meal plan and then actually give you guys what I typically eat on a daily basis. So without further ado, let's get started. Welcome back, guys, to part 2 of this series. If you guys have watched part 1, I hope you enjoyed it, and for part 2 here we're going to be setting up a meal plan. Now, there's something I want you guys to think about when you start this meal plan, that it has to adapt to your lifestyle, it has to adapt to your body type, right? Nobody's body type is the same, so there's no one shoe fits all. So we need to be well aware of that what I share with you guys in this video isn't, the holy grail, and that you need to be doing your research, right? You need to be going out there and discovering, being in tune with your body and understanding what's working for your diet and what's not working for your diet. But that's what this video is for, is to actually get you guys started and have some kind of base that you can build your diet around to start building muscle on a vegan diet. So the first thing we're going to get into is something that I know a lot of people disagree and agree with, and it's something that I think you don't have to really follow, but I believe it would help you tremendously, especially if you're coming fresh and never have actually, built muscle on any kind of diet in general. So to get started, I think it's important for you guys to count your calories, right? Just so you can get an understanding of your daily diet and how many calories you're actually intaking. And I'm not saying you have to do this forever. You might only have to do it for a short period of time, just a couple months, just so you understand what you can and cannot eat and what will take you over that calorie threshold. Now, for a lot of people out there, what I would suggest is to go to calorie.net. Now, I'll leave a link in the comments below so you guys can see that and use that to your advantage, and in there it will calculate your age, your height, and your weight, and then it'll give you your calories to maintain that body weight. And what you're going to do is actually increase those maintenance calories by 100 calories. And this is what you're going to shoot for. And then when you realize that you could slowly increment it up, and that's perfectly fine, but you only want to do it in about 100 calorie increments, right? You don't want to go crazy and go 500 calories, because then you'll be eating way too many calories. You want to just slowly incorporate 100 calories, do that for about a month, and then, if you feel like you need a little bit more, then increase it a little bit more. If you feel like your energy and your strength isn't quite there, then I would increase it, the 100 calories, in every 2 months or so, so just increment it up, and then you'll find a calorie range that actually works good for you, so you can build muscle. Because to build muscle, you're going to need to intake more calories than what your maintenance level is. This is highly important if you want to build muscle. So I know the first question everybody's going to ask is, how many meals a day should I be eating? And that's a great question, especially when you're starting out. I mean, there's so much information out there, and people say, you should be eating, every 2 hours if you really want to build muscle. And to be honest, I've done everything. I have done the 8 meals a day, eating every 2 hours, or I had to set an alarm so I can, eat to make sure I didn't forget to eat. And that was just daunting, and it seemed just too much going on. Life is going on, and you can't just put it off. So typically what I do nowadays is I actually only eat 3 meals a day, and that is completely up to you. But what you want to understand here is that you have your calories from the calculator.net, right? You have your maintenance calories, and you have 100 calories above that. So what you want to do is to take those calories and spread it out through the amount of meals you want to eat during the day. Now, that's completely up to you. Maybe you want to do a breakfast, do a lunch, do a dinner, and then maybe have a snack in between or something like that. So just remember that, and try to plan out your day, what your daily diet is going to look like, right? And you want to keep that structure, you want to keep that consistency, and this is what's going to help you build muscle, is keeping that consistent meal plan. And then you can, if you feel like it's not working, you can change it out, but just write it out for like a week or two. Just experiment with it. Don't just try it for a day. I'm like, I don't really like this. I'd give it like a week or two before you start switching it too much, right? You don't want to keep throwing your body off because you keep altering everything and I understand sometimes, some days you're just more hungrier than others and you might want a snack, and that's fine, but I'm just saying overall meal plans, just try to plan it out best you can. So I'm just going to go ahead and slide this one in here for you guys because I know this is going to be a very sensitive topic, and a lot of people, especially if you're American, we are obsessed with protein. And yes, I was there at one point in my life, but I actually realized that no, we don't need as much protein as you may actually think, especially when you're building muscle on a vegan diet. Now, for a good reference for you guys before we get into this, the book is called Proteinaholic by Dr. Garth Davis. Now, this book explains exactly why you don't need as much protein as you may think. The average person not trying to build muscle, just trying to maintain their average, muscle mass, is you only need about 80 grams of protein. So this is just the average person, right? And then building muscle, you only need a little bit more than that. You won't need much more. It's even like me. I weigh 170 pounds, right? And I only take in about 110 grams of protein at most, and that's even a lot for me, and I've tried to dwindle down even more from that. And the thing is I don't try to track my protein. That's one of the biggest myths. Like, don't worry about tracking, and everybody's gonna say you need X, Y, and Z, but just be aware, refer to the reference that you don't need that much. Your body is a highly tuned, evolved machine, right? It's lived for so long and evolved for so long that you don't need to worry about it. It knows how to take care of itself, and you have to trust that it will take care of itself. So another big thing to remember when you are setting up your meal plan, you need to actually be trying to drink more water. And I know that's harder said than done, but this is something you have to actually monitor, right? And the easiest way I did it when I first started was that I typically had like a half gallon or a jug. I used to carry a jug around and drink at least a gallon of water. You should at least be drinking a gallon of water a day. Now, the human body is typically made up of 50 to 60% water. Now, this is extremely important, especially if you're a person that holds on to water weight, that you want to be flushing out your system. The more your body knows that it's getting more water in, it will release a lot more water, so you won't retain as much water. The only reason you're retaining as much water is because you're not taking in enough water. So it's important to monitor your water intake and make sure you're at least drinking a gallon of water a day, if possible, if not 2 gallons. I mean, 2 gallons is a lot, and even for me, I have trouble with 2 gallons. I typically get like a gallon and a half at least a day, and it is something you have to force yourself to do. And the biggest tip here for you guys is when you first wake up, since you've been dehydrated all night, is to just chug like a glass of water as soon as you get up, right? And that'll start you off right. Or sometimes chug 2 glasses of water, whatever it is. If you know you're going to be going to work or whatever, drink as much water as you can just before you go, so okay, well, I'm already starting off on the right foot, right? Because you might get busy throughout the day and forget. So if you start it out right and then constantly be monitoring whatever you gotta do, set your alarm. Maybe you set your alarm every 2 hours and be like, hey, you should probably drink another glass of water or another 2 glasses of water because you haven't, right? So that's a big tip, is just to set your alarm for these times. Like if you're trying to, especially if you're trying to make sure that you want to incorporate your water intake, is to just set that alarm. Just reminders. These are little reminders that will help you progress and build consistency, right? So what you've all been waiting for is my diet, right? Maybe not, but nonetheless, I just want to share this with you guys, is just to understand that you need to be consistent with your meals. Every day you should have almost the same exact meals. Now, I do this for the first 2 meals of my day, and then typically at night for dinner, I always swap it out. I'll have 3 to 4 different kind of meals that I'll swap around, but it's consistency, right? So if you have consistent meals throughout the day that are the same, it actually helps you establish a solid routine, and you don't have to worry about what you're eating or what else. It keeps you consistent. That's the biggest thing when trying to gain muscle, is that consistency. But typically for my morning breakfast, I always have oatmeal no matter what. And what I'll typically add is, I'll just smash a banana, add some chia seeds in there, and then typically I'll add some PB2 in there, and then throw the oats in there with some almond milk, and then cook that. And then after that, then I'll I might sometimes throw raisins in there. It just depends. And I swap it to little different things out. You know, this is the thing you need to understand. I always have oatmeal, but I do swap a lot of things out, right? Sometimes I don't use PB2. Sometimes I use my protein. Sometimes I, don't have anything and I just use the oats and just eat that with the chia seeds. So it really just depends on the day, but I always have oatmeal. Oatmeal is always the first meal I have during every day. Now, as far as the second meal, now depending if I'm fasting, because sometimes I work out in the morning fasted and then I come back and I'll have oatmeal, but if I don't, even if I don't, I always have a smoothie throughout my day. That's normally my midday lunch, essentially, is what it is, right? And for the vegan community, the smoothie is always something that a lot of people incorporate, and for good reason, because it contains a lot of calories. Depending on what you put in it, you can get a good 1,000 calories easily out of a good smoothie, right? And I always add my greens in my smoothie. I always add spinach in there. Spinach is also one of the main things I always eat every day. It is vital and it's got great nutrients for your body. And then I'll typically always add frozen berries, more bananas, and then I'll add my protein, and then I'll always add turmeric and black pepper in there to help my body recover and absorb all the nutrients that I'm getting out of the smoothie. And then also I'll add like almond milk or something like that to it. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, but for the most part, that's typically what my smoothie is every day. And that, like I said, knocks out a good, it can go anywhere from like 700 calories to 1,000 calories, if not more, just depending on how much you put into that smoothie. And it's a good thing too if you have find that throughout your day you haven't gotten as many calories as you've wanted to get. A smoothie is a great way to bump those calories up, because you can, like I said, you could add tons more into that smoothie, whatever your blender will hold, and then you can knock out a ton of those calories if you've been missing any. So for my last meal of the day, I typically eat like quinoa with some beans and onions, and typically I'll add some peppers in there as well, but then I'll add corn in there and I'll add tomatoes in there, and sometimes I throw spinach in that as well. And then I cook all that stuff up, and that's normally what I have. I try to have some kind of grain, like every other day, maybe every 2 days or something like that. And normally I make enough so it lasts me for a couple days. So that's a good thing that helps as well, is trying to make your meals in bulk if at all possible, especially if you feel like your time is really constrained. This will help you be consistent in your meal planning. And then on some other days I might just have like mushrooms, carrots, and green peas. It just all depends. I swap out that last meal of the day quite frequently. Sometimes I have a big old kale salad with garbanzo beans. It's just something you need to experiment with, right? You need to be cycling out at least a meal, right? You want those first 2 meals to be consistent no matter what, for the most part, and then that last meal can be a bunch of different things. You want a variety of stuff in your diet so that you aren't deficient in any nutrients. So with that being said, I hope you guys can actually start structuring your meal plans. I don't want you to take my meal plan verbatim, because what works for me, it may not work for you, but it's a good starting point. So just remember that when building out your meal plans. So one last tip I have for you guys here is to take pictures. Yes, take pictures. Even if you don't want to, take those half-naked pictures, because I'm telling you, you see yourself every day and you may not see the results. You may get flustered because you're not seeing the results, but if you take pictures on a day, not even a daily basis, if you're doing it like once a week, you can really see the results, and they will really help. That will motivate you and help continue to push you on your way, because motivation will be extremely important. And you'll think that your diet isn't working, and that's another good way to judge your diet. If you're being consistent with your diet, you can see in the pictures on the results. So with that being said, remember to just take pictures. So I hope you guys got something out of this video. I hope help you set up your meal plan. Again, don't go verbatim for the meal plan that I have. It's what works for me. You have to figure out what meal plan works for you. This is just a good baseline to get started out. My body type is not the same as anybody out there, nor is yours. So you have to experiment with foods and see what foods work for you. If oatmeal is not working for you in the morning, find something else that will actually help you, that you can be consistent in, right? You just want to make sure that whatever you're choosing You want to make sure that it either comes from the ground or from a tree, a good majority of what you're eating, right? You don't want to just eat processed stuff. Yes, you can eat processed stuff. I'm not saying you can't eat processed stuff, but I'm saying that you want to try to stay as close to nature as possible, right? Because you'll feel like you're more energized, you'll feel more stronger in the gym when you're actually staying closer to nature. So just keep that in mind when you're building this plan out, right? And just be consistent, stay to the plan, do the 9 weeks, and experiment, right? I'm not saying that for the next year all you're going to eat is oatmeal, a smoothie, and a kale salad for the next, foreseeable future, because you don't have to do that. You can swap things out. Just try to keep those things in your diet for a couple of days. Just try to see what it does, right, before you just throw it out, because it takes a while for your body to adjust, right, to adjust to the different foods that you're changing it to. So that's one thing just to keep in mind, okay, when you're setting up these plans. So if you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, if you know somebody who gets something out of this video, please share with them. And also, if you like this video and want to see the rest of the videos in this series, I got 3 and 4 coming out. Please subscribe so you don't miss out on any more videos. And also, thank you guys very much, and stick to your meal plan and be consistent and start building those vegan gains. So until next time, I'll see you guys later.